Put your hands together, make some noise and welcome the legend that is Theo Paphitis! Here he comes.
Hello everyone. Come on, a bit better than that. That's much better. Hello.
Hello, Theo. How are you doing?
I'm good. Fancy meeting you here.
Fancy meeting you here. Have you had the pudding upstairs yet, or not yet?
Hey?
You haven't had the chocolate cake upstairs
No,
yet?
I did have a chocolate cake. I'm not sure I should have done, but it was lovely.
Well, do you know what? I know that everybody in that audience is particularly excited about hearing from you this afternoon. So first of all, thank you so much for being involved again this year. How does it make you feel to look out and see so many students wanting to be entrepreneurs?
Frightening.
Too much competition.
That's because they all want my job. Don't you? And looking at you lot, I'm worried you might just get it.
Well, starting off the Q&A, what is it that made you want to get back involved again this year with the Ryman's National Enterprise Challenge?
Well, I've got to be honest with you. It was dead easy because we've had such a great time of it the last few years where we've seen such amazing energy, amazing ideas, amazing projects, and more importantly, the fact that you guys execute those ideas. It's really easy just to think about things, but it's hard to get off your backside and actually do something about it. And in later life, that's what it's all about. We can all daydream, and I love daydreaming, by the way. I'm a massive daydreamer. But after daydreaming, you've got to come to reality, and you've got to make it happen. And these guys make it happen.
They certainly do indeed, and we're so grateful that you're all here. How important is it for students nowadays to really learn the skills for business and the real world as opposed to just academically?
Listen, just barely 10 years ago, the thought of school children, kids that are still at school, talking about business, all the adults would say, no, not for them. They've got to do the 3 R's, learning, everything else. They don't want to be talking about business. They want to concentrate on their academic qualifications, go to university. But you know what? Business is cool. Business is cool, and it's cool right down to school age. It's about understanding what makes the world tick, and more importantly, what makes people tick, because that's the experiences that you need to be able to gain for the rest of your life that will definitely hold you in good stead.
Absolutely. Enough from me, though. We have had questions submitted by all of you guys, so thank you very much for taking the time and effort to do that. The first questions are from Sandwell Academy. That's close to where I come from. Where's Sandwell Academy in the room? Okay, they're not here. That's a bit awkward, isn't it? But they submitted great questions.
Good question. Sorry, I'll tell you what, everybody's like everywhere, and we've got our back to them. Why don't we stand up?
Let's stand up. Go on then.
And is it all right if I take my jacket off? Go for it, yeah.
Can everyone see us better if we stand up? All right, let's go for it then. Okay, Theo, question number 1 from Sandwell Academy. If there had been one thing you'd change when you started out in business, what would it be?
Woo! What would it be? I've never been asked that question. I've been asked some really obvious questions in the past by TV interviewers, captains of industry, professional interviewers, and somebody's just asked me a question that's absolutely stumped me. What would I change when I started off in business? I honestly don't think, for me, I would have changed very much. I had some really difficult times when I started off. It wasn't easy. But you know what? Whilst I would have liked it to be a lot easier, we all like things to be easier, the lessons I learned during that period held me in such good stead for the rest of my business life that maybe I wouldn't be where I am today if I hadn't had those early negative experiences. So I've got to say is, leave it as it is.
Leave it as it is. There we go. So we should all forget about the past and focus on the present. Theo's advice. Second question, which enterprise skill do you think is the single most important skill? Because that's what everybody here is going to be working on today.
There isn't one. The answer to that, you don't have one single skill. enterprise and business is about lots and lots of different things. There isn't a magic bullet. It's not all about being brilliant at numbers. It's not all about being brilliant at design. It's not all about being brilliant at innovation. It's about a combination of things. It's about being good at lots of things. But more importantly, it's about understanding what you're not good at as opposed to what you're good at. Because what lets you down sometimes are the things you don't know, the things that you're not good at. And if you can actually identify those and work on those, then that's going to give you the best chance of success.
And I think you touched on a really interesting point. When a lot of, influential business people are interviewed, they say what makes you a good boss is to know what you're good at, but more importantly, to know what you're bad at, because then you need to get a team to really subsidize that and make you a success.
Absolutely. It sounds simple, doesn't it?
Yeah, it sounds simple.
Simple, but so many people get it wrong.
Question number 3 is submitted by Cheadle Homeschool. They've asked, what is the achievement that you are most proud of in your life?
Why am I getting all these difficult questions? I've come all the way to Doncaster. It's never one thing. I've done many things in my life. Just being able, frankly, I don't know. Is anybody else dyslexic here? Yeah, we got some other fellow dyslexics?
One over here, I saw table 29.
I've got to tell you, and there was a reason for that, because I was dyslexic, so it was really tough. But again, going back to the first question we asked, was, would I change anything? And the answer is no, because as tough as it was being dyslexic at school and not really having, in those days, the understanding what dyslexia was, it really made me understand what I had to do to compete with everyone else. And that was, I had to work harder, I had to work smarter, I had to prepare, I had to do my homework. I couldn't just coast it, I couldn't chance and just turn up lastminute.com. And for me, the proudest thing I can honestly say personally was the fact that I took that on board. And so I thought, sod you lot, it doesn't matter what issues I've got, but I'm just going to work twice as hard, 3 times as hard. I'm going to plan, I'm going to prepare myself. I'm not going to leave anything to chance, and I'm going to make sure when I'm in competition with anyone who's more fortunate than me, that I'm better prepared, so I've got a better chance of winning.
I think that's really important for everyone in the audience, because I don't think you're not too young to ever start working really hard for a business idea, are you? There's no age limit. You can be whatever age, and it's important to really put that effort in at any point in your school career.
Totally, and we didn't have wonderful situations like the National Enterprise Challenge, where you could be focused and you could have your teachers working with you towards meeting that end of planning, preparing, designing, thinking things through, debating, working out the commercialities. That didn't happen in my day. It's brilliant that your teachers are able to support you doing that. The fact is, I had to do that for myself, and surprisingly, it wasn't about business. All I did was try and get through school. But when I left school and then went into the real wide world, bingo, all those things that I'd been using to get me through school and get me to get what I consider the basic qualifications all came into light. All those things gave me an advantage in the real world. And the fact that you are already doing those things now is going to hold you in great stead when eventually you go out to the big wide world of work.
Now, this next question is actually, I think, probably my favorite. Have we got Biddick Academy in here anywhere? There we go. I love this question. They've asked, we all know that sometimes, in order to be successful, sometimes you do have to take risks, especially in business. Is there an example of a risk that you've taken, looking back, that you either regret or that you're proud of?
Okay, let me just put you absolutely straight. When you enter the big wide world of business, when you enter the big wide world of work, whatever you decide to do, don't take risks. Only a fool takes risks. A sensible person takes calculated risks. There's a massive difference. You sit there, you work it out, You work the downside, the upside, what would happen if the risk went wrong. Never bet the farm, never go all in. Take a calculated risk. There's a massive difference between gambling and actually taking a business risk. A business risk is calculated.
So a lot of research to go into it before you actually make that decision and invest your hard-earned cash.
Absolutely.
We've all seen Theo doing that on Dragon's Den, and this links to the next question, actually, quite conveniently. The Born Academy have submitted this question. If you had £100,000 given to you today, how would you invest it and why?
£100,000. It sounds like Dr. Evil, doesn't it? How would I spend 100,000 quid? Well, I wouldn't go to the bookies with it. I certainly wouldn't have put it on England winning the Euros. That was tough, wasn't it? Everybody watch it? Yeah, we'll put that behind us. I don't think we turned up on that one. How would I spend £100,000? There isn't one way. What I would say is very carefully take into account all the things that we've already spoken about. Working out what we're going to do with it, what the risk rewards were, how we're going to make that £100,000 be worth more than it is today, and making sure that before we make any decision, we've actually considered the consequences of that decision. Yes, in real life, sometimes we get frustrated and we'll make an instant decision on the hoof. We're not gambling 100,000 quid. If we've got 100,000 quid to actually invest, we're going to work it out, and it's going to take time. There isn't one magic bullet.
So we're not going to put you on the spot just yet. Now, the next question is one that I debated for quite a long time about asking, but a lot of you submitted this question. If you're a student and you've watched the news a lot recently, you will have heard about the EU referendum. If you're a teacher, I have no doubt that you have a very strong opinion on the EU referendum. So I'm going to take this moment to actually ask Theo's opinion on it and how he thinks it's going to affect UK business, and in general, whether he thinks it was the right decision.
Okay, I'll tell you what I'm going to do, because you've caught me on the hoof a little bit on this one. What I'm going to say is, you guys, apart from the teachers, and can I say for the first time and the only time today, I'm going to say all teachers are irrelevant. You're not here. You're invisible. I know it's strange to say keep quiet teachers, because normally you're doing it the other way around, but please do not intervene on this. I would just like to hear from the kids themselves. So, assuming all you guys were entitled to vote, and we're old enough to vote, can I have a hands up for those that have voted in? Those that have voted out? Does that look sort of 50-50, isn't it?
It's like, I'd say 60-40.
60-40 in.
60-40 to in.
60-40 in. Okay. That wasn't a million miles away from the actual result, was it, Sarah?
No, that's pretty accurate.
That was
Just
pretty
swayed the other
accurate.
way.
Okay. I'm not going to ask you why you made the decision you made. But sadly, I don't believe that the debate that went on during the debate of the referendum actually allowed people to make, in my view, a decision based on facts and information. Now, they might have still voted the same way, but I'm a little bit concerned that the information that actually came to everybody was tricky. And the reality is, there is no question in my mind, by the way, that this country outside the EU has got a great future. No question. So please, do not even be concerned about it. In 3 years' time, 2 years' time, 5 years' time, we will be wondering what all the kerfuffle was all about. So no, absolutely need to be worried about it. Also, by the way, I do believe we have a great future within the EU as well. So it's that tight. So it's a matter of various issues that are of our beliefs and that we believe strongly. And some of those beliefs get curtailed by being part of the EU. And if those beliefs are strong to you, then you don't want to be in the EU. If those beliefs are actually not that strong and you have other beliefs, then you might want to vote to stay in the EU. And it's very much for the people to decide. And the people have decided, and we've got to stop moaning about it. And now we've got to make sure that, unlike the people in this room, who I think are probably more mature than the politicians during this referendum, that we grow up and we actually get on with it. We've got all the skills, all the talents, a wonderful country with a great economy where most of our business is done outside the EU anyway, and we've still got potential to do a hell of a lot more. It's just a different path, and we just got to get on with it.
And since this is a business event, it's not political, it's not legal, do you think in a nutshell that our trade is going to be affected? I mean, in the short run, we probably think the answer to that is yes. In the long run, where's our trade going to go?
Well, the short term, if you think about it, the next 2 years, nothing will happen. We're still part of the, minimum of 2 years.
2 years it takes to get out of the EU.
Yeah,
to get into
before you can leave the EU, by the way, I'm going to bore you now. Before you leave the EU, the government, I've got to send a letter to the commissioners in the EU saying, hello, this is the UK government here, we're off. Bye. And we want to trigger Article 50 of the EU treaty. Once you trigger Article 50, you have 2 years to agree your exit plan and go off into the yonder. We haven't triggered Article 50 yet, and I don't believe we will be triggering Article 50 till at least Christmas at the earliest. So we've got at least 2.5 years where nothing at all will change. Everything will be exactly as it is at the moment, no trade differences, and trade should not be affected at all. And hopefully, if our politicians bloody grow up and act like adults, we should be in a position in 2.5 years' time to go off with a stable platform to allow this country to carry on growing.
Oh, thank you so much. I know that I've been wondering a lot about it. So to be able to have such a successful businessman say that, I know it makes me feel a lot more at ease. Moving on to further questions. This is by Biddick Academy. I'm not sure if they're in the rooms. I heard one scream. Oh, there we go, right at the back. Thank you so much for your question. They've asked, Theo, are you always looking for new business ideas? And what's the best idea that you've come across that wasn't your own and you wish you'd thought of?
Wow, blimey. Do you know what? I've never had an original idea in my life. I've got to be honest. I see lots of brilliant ideas, and I'm inspired by other people's ideas. And if I see a good idea, then I'm inspired by it, then I might turn it into a business. So I don't really have many ideas of my own, which is brilliant. So all I can say to you guys, if you're sitting in your bathtub with your rubber duck, just laying back there, thinking, I want to come up with a great business idea, you're going to go very wrinkly, very, very quickly. Don't worry about it. To be successful in business, you don't need a business idea. What you need is lots of work ethic, lots of open-mindedness, the ability to affect and make things happen and work with people.
Was there ever a decision you made on Dragon's Den that you particularly regretted? I remember very specifically, I think everybody rejected tangle teasers, and I see them everywhere now.
Oh, those tangle teasers is brilliant. Who's got tangle teasers? Yeah, I've got 2 daughters, and they've got them all around the house, and they keep reminding me of. The reason nobody invested in tangle teasers on Dragon's Den is really, really simple. It's not complicated. The fact is, he already had a bedroom full of product. And his problem was, and he said he wanted more money to buy more product. And I think if you look back on the edit, what we say to him is, go and sell the products you've got. If you can sell the products you've got, you don't need anybody's money. You don't need any of our money, because the money from that product will actually allow you to buy more stock and grow even further. So it wasn't that we didn't like the idea, it wasn't investable for us.
I'm really glad you answered that, because I always wondered. I always thought it was a silly decision.
Thank you very much.
This question is submitted by Biddick Academy. If you didn't run your own business, what would you be doing now as a career if you were working for somebody else?
I don't think I could. I'm unemployable. I'm useless. I daydream. and my concentration span is that of a goldfish. School was appalling for me. It was the most difficult time of my life. I've got to tell you, I couldn't concentrate for more than 5 minutes. My poor teachers, irrespective whether I was dyslexic or not, they had no chance with me because they would get my attention for a period, then I'd be off onto something else. Now again, for me, I see that as a strength because, you know, I know all you girls are much better than the boys, aren't you? Yeah, because you can multitask and us boys can't. Well, I've got to tell you, I've got news for you. Us boys can do it as well. Can't we, boys? Yeah. So I always like to do more than one thing at a time. So I really wasn't brilliant. I wasn't brilliant raw material to teach.
Now, I've got 3 more questions, one by a school and 2 of my own that I'm going to take the opportunity to ask. Many people in this room, if I'm right, want to start their own business one day, yeah? Yeah. But it's a scary statistic that over 50% of startups fail within, I think, is it 2 years, a year?
First 2 years.
First 2 years. That's scary to me. Theo, why on earth does this happen? Why do so many startups fail?
Okay, I'm going to give you the answers to that because it isn't that difficult. But I do need to kill these lights because they're doing my head in. You're all dark and red. I've got them blazing in my eyes. So can we just put the lights up, please? I want to see the audience. That's better. I want to see the audience a bit more. Turn those lights that are blaring here off. Great, I want to see the audience. Hello, everybody. I want to see your eyes. Wave to me. Okay. You're going to hate me for what I'm going to tell you, kids. The reason 50% of all small businesses fail in the first 2 years is because okay, they don't do their bloody homework. I tell you, your teacher's going to love this and you're going to hate this. They don't do their homework. Why would you want to start a business without knowing more than your competitor? Why would you want to start a business without making sure you've got enough cash to see you through the bad times? Why would you want to start your business without lots of research and testing? This is basic stuff, the stuff that you're doing here today. Most businesses fail because they just haven't done the basics. People say to me, how do those people turn up on Dragon's Den and they don't know their numbers? Well, welcome to the great British public or business startup. Dragon's Den is not fixed. They don't find people to set them up to go on there and be stupid. They find people who want to start a business and want investment. And what you see is reality. It's proper. And people want to start businesses without actually doing their homework, which is so stupid. So all I can say to you guys is, believe you me, whatever you're doing in your life, whether it's business or trying to achieve something else, just when you think you've done enough prep, enough homework, enough preparation, believe you me, you need to do more. Just do more. And if you do more, you've got better chance of being more successful than everyone else. That's why they fail.
You're not going to get that answer anywhere else. I hope you've all taken that in. Now, this next question is, I'm looking around, and I know that because you're the finals out of 35,000 students, you're the type of students, if you see an opportunity, my God, you're going to seize it. Am I right? Exactly. And if I'd have been in your seats a long time ago, I would have
How long?
10 years, something like that. If I'd have been in your seats, I'd have thought, you know what, I'm going to pitch to Theo himself, I'm going to find him, and I'm going to pitch, and I'm going to take that opportunity. So I've got Theo on the stage now. Theo, if I pitch to you, and if I'm pitching a business, what do I have to have for you to invest in my idea?
Okay. Sometimes, you know the question you asked about the invest in Tangle Teaser?
Yes. Never going to live this down.
Thanks for that. Well, often people ask me questions, why didn't you invest in that idea? Why didn't you invest in so-and-so? Why didn't you invest in so-and-so? And for me, it became very clear after the first series of Dragon's Den that actually investing in a good idea with an average person is not as good as investing in a good person with an average idea. So for me, I'm looking at you first and your idea secondly. Because unless you've got the passion, the drive, and the desire, however good your idea is, you're likely to fail. And somebody else will pick it up and be successful with it. Whereas if you've got that passion, that desire, that drive, and the work ethic to make it successful, even if your idea is average, the likelihood is it's going to be successful at some level. And your next idea is going to be even more successful. So I'll be invested in you because it's you, not just the idea.
And I think it touches base on something that Theo and I talked about upstairs about 20 minutes ago. Business is all about people, isn't it? You're not going to get very far if you're not well liked. So you need to put the effort into relationships and building them and sustaining them. So I think that
It is. It's exactly that. And listen, when you talk to somebody, I mean, these lights are still not brilliant. But you know what? One thing for me is really important if I meet somebody. I want them to make eye contact with me. I want them to talk to me, not the floor, not my belly button or my chest. I want them to talk to me and make contact with me. I want them to engage. I want them to be confident. I want them to believe in what they're talking to me about. And that's something that you will need going forward in your life. If you're going to meet somebody and go, oh, hello, how you doing? Well, you know what? You haven't made contact. You haven't developed a relationship. You're unlikely to be friends. You're unlikely to do business going forward. So it really is important, those personal skills are just as important for you as any academic skills you might pick up at school.
And this is the very final question, so I really hope we've touched base on the things that you actually would have asked Theo yourself. If we haven't, I apologise, but this is the final question. I know that a lot of you want to start businesses. We've talked about this already. A lot of my friends, and I'm 24, they've either started businesses and they've gone really well, or they've started them and they've failed, and they're trying to come up with a new idea. And something I've noticed is that every single one of them is trying to start a tech company. It's always about tech. They're starting unicorns and everything like that. So let's say that you're 18 today. What sort of business would you start? Is tech the way forward, or is there another route?
Well, out of all the questions you've asked me, I might be able to answer this one a little bit more distinct and directly. If I had 500 quid, 1,000 quid, a couple of thousand quid, and I was going to 18-year-old about thinking I didn't want to start my own business, it's for me very clear one of the areas that's growing massively and we still haven't got enough skill set in the United Kingdom for is, in fact, e-commerce. You can do that from anywhere. You could run an e-commerce site from your bedroom, on Amazon, you name it. All of a sudden, you don't need 300, 400, 500 shops to reach your customer. You can reach your customer from your bedroom. You can reach your customer from your kitchen. You can reach your customer from your living room. Just decide on what it is you want to interact with your customer with. What product, what service. Once you've decided that service and that product that's going to be attractive, it's so much easier today to actually do on the web. So for me, it would definitely be e-commerce.
Brilliant. And I suppose I'd like to hope that you all agree that that's definite food for thought. Am I right? Yes, everybody. Well, thank you so much for listening, Theo. It's a pleasure as always. Can everybody put your hands together and give a massive round of applause and a huge thank you?
Thank you, guys, and good luck.